In this video, we're talking about why AI automation projects fail and the simple 3-step framework to follow for success. So if you don't know me yet, my name is Mitch, and we do have a community with over 700 members that have purchased our AI automation templates. Plus, we build automations for clients in our agency called Make Big Moves. And through all of that, we have a unique point of view into all types of different businesses that are out there and how people are automating workflows and which ones are actually working for people and which ones aren't. And after observing many businesses, we can say without a doubt that there's a very important framework that you need to follow when it comes to AI automation. If you really want to make sure that you are going to be building the correct workflows at the right time to ensure that it's going to help the business be more productive, and ultimately, whether you're selling automations for clients or if you're building them yourself, you want to make sure that the time invested, whether that's you paying your time invested or somebody else paying you to implement their workflows, is actually going to be valuable. If it's not, you're not going to get that repeat customer. They're not going to stay with you. And if it's your own business, then a bad decision could mean a whole year of growth opportunities that have been wasted. So we're going to go through the 3-part framework in this video. And then at the end, I'm actually going to give you a simple question that you can ask yourself in order to ensure that you're going to be making the right decision when it comes to implementing AI automation. So which type of automation projects should you pursue first? That is the hardest question for most people to answer, and they don't even know it. Because what should be automated first are your highest ROI and lowest risk workflows within the business. However, what most people are gravitating towards are your experimental automations. So we're going to go through some examples of those things in just a moment in detail, but the high ROI, low risk things are things that you're already doing in your workflows right now. So these are processes that you've probably been doing for many years, and maybe you're doing them in ChatGPT, or you have somebody in your team doing them in ChatGPT. They're using the same prompts over and over again. This is a high ROI, low risk automation to build. The low unknown ROI and high risk automations to build are things like an AI chatbot if you've never done a chatbot before. There are things like AI images or AI videos if you've never done AI videos before, which most people haven't. So these are experimental automations. You have no idea if they're going to work, and they should be the last thing that you implement. So we're going to talk about that. So the type 1 is the no-brainer automations. So once you automate these are the things that allow you to focus on important activities. They're easy to implement without hassle. It simplifies repetitive actions. And it's the ultimate goal of automation, or it's the ultimate goal of business overall, is to, once you find something in your business that works and you have a workflow that works for you, you always want to find ways to streamline that. That's how you begin to optimize your business to make it more profitable, to ensure that you are sticking up with the times, to make it better in terms of quality. And that's going to then lead to hopefully more profit in the long term. So we want to be looking at all of these type 1 automations. So examples of these are moving data between systems, sending the same emails over and over, creating invoices and proposals, updating project statuses, following up with leads, onboarding new clients. There's so many examples. And let me give you an example from our bigmoves.ai website. So we build out trusted reviews and AI tools and templates. So we're creating all of these reviews. Then we have a process where we do a lot of AI research, and then we do a lot of human research in order to create these reviews. But we have a system built inside of Airtable. And when we first got started, we were writing those reviews inside of Airtable, and then we would take them manually and move them across into WordPress in a manual process. But after we did that multiple times, we got used to the process of what we had to do. And then we automated it because this is a core part of our business. So when it comes to publishing, 5 reviews a day now, instead of that taking maybe an hour or two for somebody on the team, we now just hit the button 5 times and it's literally uploaded within a couple of minutes. We do a quick check. So in order to upload these reviews right now, it probably takes a maximum of 3 to 4 minutes just to make sure we've got all the structure correct on the website and that it all looks accurate from the automation itself. So these are our type 1 automations, things that we're doing every day on a daily basis. They're largely mission critical, meaning that we want to be consistent at them. So all of these things are super important to do first. You already know the process works. You can measure the exact time savings. You have zero risk of the automation not working. It's just replacing a manual step, and you'll see an immediate ROI. So that person on our team who used to spend 2 or 3 hours uploading those reviews each day can now be assigned to do other tasks, like maybe they're going to create different types of content that is going to build the audience and generate more leads and so forth. So that's super important, and that should be the main place to focus. The second place to focus, which is our type 2, which is copy what's working for others. And that's what everybody in our community has done. So when they predominantly purchased one of our templates called Content Automation OS. So this is like one of the OGs in the AI automation space. We built this almost 2 years ago now, and since then had more than 750 people purchase and join the community for that template. So where this template came from is I sold a business a couple of years ago in the pet care space, and we had a team of 10, 11 people at one point, and we made 3 bad decisions in a row, which just totally wiped out all profit. We went from making $10,000 to $20,000 a week in profit to then losing $10,000 a week in a space of like 2 months. And that was pretty tough. So we had to fire most of the team in order to stop the burn and like rebuild the business again from scratch. And when I built again from scratch, it was right when AI was starting to really take off and become useful. And I started playing around with automations, and we built out some Airtable systems and Make.com systems and started automating workflows that team members used to do before we let them go. So then eventually in like 3 to 4 months time, I had these systems inside of Airtable where one team member from the Philippines was doing the same amount of work as 3 or 4 people were previously before we had to let them go. So I started sharing about that on YouTube, and then all of a sudden this product just took off and people were buying it every single day. So that's how this came about, which is I built something that was working for a real business that was very useful, and then I shared that with others. So that's what we do when it comes to the second stage. So after you've automated everything in the type 1, which are the things you're doing now, next you want to see what's working for others and see if you can implement that into your own system as well. So we want to observe successful practices. We want to adapt to our own context, which is the most important thing. And when people were purchasing this product, probably in one of these first modules here, it's exactly what I said, which is this is a starting point. This is a template. Now make sure you adapt it to your own workflows using your own systems and your own prompts and your own tools. So we want to modify it. Then we're going to streamline that process. So we're going to implement the adapted practices to improve our own efficiency, which should then enhance productivity, which helps us achieve our desired outcome. And then that provides a foundation for growth. It frees up more time for different people on our team. And then we can find more of these processes that are working for others. So there's tons of templates out there now, but you can get them for basically any type of business that you're in. You can adapt it to your own. But some examples that are out there are things like your lead nurture sequences that competitors use, a content distribution workflow from successful creators, client onboarding processes from similar companies, sales follow-up systems that are being proven for conversion rates. So why these work is because somebody else has already validated the strategy. So you can see their results before you invest the time. It's lower risk than anything experimental, and you can often improve on their process based on your own business. So this is step number 2. After we've automated everything for our own businesses, we then dive into what are others doing that are proven. Now, the hard part to determine here is, number 1, is the proven process actually relevant to my business? So somebody might have a proven process in the e-com space, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to work in the services space. So you got to have the discernment to understand, will this actually work for me in my business? Is my business similar enough to what the template is being used? But the second thing that you need to watch for is that because AI is so good now, and because and you can basically create any type of marketing, any type of content you want, you have to make sure that even if these content creators are getting huge views, you've got to make sure that what they're building is actually useful to a real business. I would say based on the content that I see out there, maybe 50% of the content that goes viral is actually useful for a real business. The other 50% is just flashy and looks good and sounds good in theory, but in reality, it's not really worth it for a real business making real money. And that's why our agency Make Big Moves does so well, is because it's not just me who has 12 years of business experience behind me, but also my business partner. We sold a business together. And it also has a friend who is now a business partner that I've known for about 8 years now, and he's run an agency for 12 years. So when we're working with clients, we make sure that we build the things for them that are actually going to be useful. And that ultimately comes down to experience. So we want to make sure that you're following people with experience when it comes to these types of type 2 workflows, copy what's working for them, adapt it to your own workflow, and then move on to type 3, the experimental automations. So type 3 is things like the advanced technologies, the trial and error, the creative problem solving. So we're talking examples like AI systems that prospect on LinkedIn automatically, AI customer service bots, AI avatar bots, complex multi-step sequences with unproven conversion rates. So basically, if you look at anything, any of the most flashy automations online, the super big, complicated ones, any of that type of stuff is usually your highest risk type of workflows. Now, I'm not saying don't do them. I think, there's probably a few out there that could really help transform your business, but they're super high risk, which means you're probably going to waste way more time on these and you're probably going to fail 90% of the time at these types of systems. So you just have to be prepared for that. If you're struggling to make money every single month, these are absolutely not the systems that you want to be implementing. But if you are a 7-figure business and you have a budget of 100 grand to spend on experimental projects over the year, then maybe you want to spend 50% on building these types of systems in order to see if they actually work. And if they do work, then great, you have a huge upside because you already have a business in place. But you don't want to be focusing all of your time on any of these types of things if you are a newbie. So the challenge comes, though, is that these are the flashy things, these are the new things, these are the hypey things. These are the things that capture our attention. We're entrepreneurs, we're just going to gravitate towards them. So it takes a lot of discipline to say no to these types of workflows. So why these fail is because there's no underlying strategy that works. It's highly complex with an unknown outcome. It's easy to blame the automation when the strategy is flawed as well. So a lot of times, especially if you're working with clients, you don't want to be implementing these things because they'll blame you or AI automation in general if the strategy doesn't work. It takes a lot of time invested because you're basically building everything from scratch. You don't have any type of prompting to go from. You don't have any type of existing SPs to follow. And the development time is way longer and much more confusing, which leads to higher costs and much more time if you are building them yourself. So we want to take the smart approach, which is strategic thinking, innovative solutions that are proven, data-driven insights, collaboration, and continuous learning. Now, there is a simple test that we can do that will ensure that you are focusing on the right things. And that is, before building any automation, ask yourself, am I currently doing this manually or am I hoping this will work? This is going to answer whether you should be focusing on this or not. If you have automated all the things that you are doing manually already, and the answer to this is, I'm hoping this will work, then go ahead, do it if you have a bit of spare time. But if you haven't implemented and automated all of the boring things that you know is going to free up some time, that is proven, that makes you money already, that drives the business forward each and every day, that allows you to be consistent, then you should probably focus in that direction first. So I hope this framework was helpful. And if you are interested in diving more into AI tools and templates, make sure you subscribe and watch this video next. See you there.